16th, 2020 Planning Commission to order, please. Start with roll call and then the minutes.
Mr. Caparelli?
Here.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Crompton?
Here.
Mr. Dillon?
Here.
Ms. Fide?
Here.
Mr. Kella?
Here.
Mr. Mystic?
Here.
Mr. Rosanellis?
Here.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chairman, the first item on our agenda is approval of the December 19th, 2019 Plan Commission meetings, Plan Commission minutes.
We get a motion and a second on that?
Move to approve.
Roll call?
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Crompton?
Aye.
Ms. Fide?
Aye.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Mr. Mystic?
Aye.
Mr. Rosanellis?
Aye.
Mr. Caparelli?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye.
Thank you. Next item is citizens to be heard on agenda items. This section is for anyone wanting to speak regarding items listed on the agenda, except for items listed under public hearing. Anyone speaking on an agenda item is entitled to speak for a maximum of 4 minutes.
Give us your name and your address, please.
My name is Donna Norris. I live at 1121 Helen Avenue, which is exactly 1 block from the proposed area on the opposite side of the road. There, well, depending on which way you're facing, there, east and to the west side of Mills Road.
Okay.
But 1 block. 1 block from the proposed area.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Mr. Chairman, this item is actually listed under public hearing, so she'll have an opportunity to speak when it comes up.
Yeah, when we bring it up, this is for other stuff, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Will you please let me know?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, next we'll have old business public hearing, and we have ZO-4-19, and that is a zoning ordinance amendment to section 47-11.1, paragraph C of the City of Joliet zoning ordinance, and that's removing automobile service stations as a permitted use in the B1 Neighborhood Business District, and zoning ordinance amendments to sections 47-12.2A and 47-13.2A of the City of Joliet zoning ordinance, adding auto service stations as a special use in the B2 and B3 districts. The applicant in this matter is the City of Joliet. Requested action is approval of the amendments that were mentioned, and the purpose is to update the zoning ordinance. Under special information, this petition was tabled at the December 19th, 2019 Plan Commission meeting in order to allow staff to update and re-advertise the required legal notice for the public hearing. The City Council Land Use and Legislative Committee discussed the above matter on October 13th and November 18th of 2019. At the latter meeting, the committee approved a motion to recommend that the ordinance amending section 47-12.2A and 47-13.2A of the City of Joliet zoning ordinance go before the full City Council. As required by the zoning ordinance, City Council consideration will occur following the public hearing to be held by the Plan Commission. Under general discussion, the city's zoning ordinance was adopted on December 5th, 1968, and has been amended from time to time as needed to address current issues and changing trends. Under subsection 47-3.6, and that's terms related to commercial structures and uses, in Article 3, Section 47-3 definitions, auto service stations are defined as follows. Auto service station is a place where gasoline or any other automobile engine fuel stored only in underground tanks, kerosene or motor oil and lubricants or grease for operation of motor vehicles are retailed directly to the public on the premises, including the sale of minor accessories and the servicing and minor repair of automobiles. At present, auto service stations are permitted uses in the B1 neighborhood business districts. B2 central business districts, B3 general business districts, and I1 light industrial districts, regardless of whether or not they operate to serve passenger vehicles or commercial vehicles, and regardless of the scale of the development. When the zoning ordinance was adopted in 1968, the typical auto service station was a small building with 1 or 2 employees and a small fuel canopy with fewer than 4 fuel pumps. Minor repair and service was often included as part of these types of businesses. Today's auto service stations include much larger buildings that typically house a convenience store with fresh food and beverage services and may have 20 or more fueling positions. Most of today's auto service stations also include self-serve vacuums, self-serve air stations, and other similar accessory uses that are external to the principal building. Some auto service stations also include an accessory car wash building. The city's zoning ordinance does presently require a special use permit for accessory car wash facilities that are built in conjunction with an auto service station. Over the last few years, there have been several auto service station project proposals that have generated considerable community interest. Examples include the Love's Travel Stop on Brick Street, which was approved as part of an annexation agreement, and the proposed Speedway gas station on Jefferson and Hobart Road, and that recently went through a public hearing but was withdrawn by the proposer. Apart from those developments that require an annexation agreement and/or zoning reclassifications, auto service stations are permitted uses in the B1, B2, and B3 business districts, as well as in the I1 light industrial district, and may be developed by right. In the example of the aforementioned Speedway gas station project, the Plan Commission and the City Council did not have the ability to separate its consideration of the developer's request for a zoning reclassification to the B3 business district from the request to develop an auto service station. If the zoning ordinance had required a special use permit for auto service stations, the Plan Commission and the City Council could have considered the zoning reclassification on its own merit, separate from the proposed gas station use. Additionally, having a special use permit requirement provides the Zoning Board of Appeals and the City Council with an additional layer of review and provides the ability to attach conditions to address the unique needs of each project proposal. Other communities require a special use permit for gas stations, which provides the ability to place conditions to mitigate issues with adjacent residential neighborhoods. Auto service stations are unique uses in that much of the business activity is conducted outside the principal building, and such activity can impact adjacent neighborhoods if not mitigated through adequate buffering, screening, and other measures to be determined on a case-by-case basis. External activity includes the fueling itself. Many modern fuel pumps include video screens that emit sound. Self-serve vacuums, self-serve air stations, and other similar accessory uses. Modern auto service stations also generate significantly more traffic than the much older service stations, simply due to the scale of the convenience store buildings and the larger number of fueling stations. The City of Joliet is one of the only municipalities in the area that currently allows auto service stations as permitted uses in all business districts. We have included a table of other municipalities that require auto service stations go through a special use or conditional use process: Aurora, Naperville, Plainfield, Elgin, and Shorewood. And we've also included Article X, Section 47-20, district changes and ordinance amendments, and subsection 47-20.1 amendments. And those are just the procedures of the zoning ordinance. And that concludes the staff report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Kendall. Any questions from the commissioners, comments? Are there any questions from the citizens about this?
I have a couple questions since we're talking about gas stations. These tanks that go in all these gas stations, I noticed on Broadway and Theater they were changing their tanks out. How often do they have to change those out on all these gas stations? Is there a requirement by us at all or no?
I don't know, there's no requirement from the city. I think the underground tanks, I believe there's a requirement that they're registered with the state. And that's sort of the jurisdiction that presides over underground tanks.
It's just,
But there's no requirement from the city.
it's just for my, because I really don't know either, that's why I'm asking you.
Yeah.
So if a gas station closes down and they shut down, they sell the property, do they have to disclose that?
No, there's actually there's a fund that every time you fill up, part of your fuel tax goes into this fund for cleaning up the underground storage tanks. of fuel.
And that fund takes, get the money to
state
take the
funds,
tanks
yeah.
out of the ground?
Good luck getting it, but yeah, it's written that way, but people aren't normally, normally someone who, they buy the property, they just do it, and hopefully get it, but yeah.
Who's
the state-
responsible then when you sell the property down?
Either the seller or the buyer, that's between the
Them?
two of them. Yeah, it's got to be disclosed, and then you can apply for the fund to get to be reimbursed. or
Oh, okay.
get it.
Okay.
Anybody else have any other questions? Can I get a motion for ZO-4-19?
I motion to approve.
Second?
Roll call?
Mr. Crompton,
Aye.
Ms. Fiding,
Aye.
Mr. Kella,
Aye.
Mr. Mystic,
Aye.
Mr. Rosanellis,
Aye.
Mr. Caparelli,
Aye.
Mr. Cox,
Aye.
Mr. Dillon.
All right.
Thank you. We'll move on. There are no items under old business, no public hearing. Under new business public hearing, the first item is A-1-20, and that is the annexation of 3.79 acres at 118 Mills Road, classification to I-1 light industrial zoning, and approval of an annexation agreement. The applicant in this matter is Rendell's Incorporated. They are the owner. Requested action, approval of an annexation, classification to I-1, and that is light industrial zoning, and approval of an annexation agreement to incorporate the existing property into municipal Joliet for future development. The existing zoning is R4, and that is in unincorporated Will County, and that is county residential zoning. Location again is 118 Mills Road, and that is the south side of Mills, east of Chicago Street. Size again is 3.79 acres. It is currently an undeveloped parcel. To the north is recreational use, and that's the Park District with R3, City of Joliet zoning. To the south is commercial, undeveloped, unincorporated Will County, and that's I2 county zoning. To the east is vacant commercial, I1, City of Joliet. To the west is residential, unincorporated Will County, R4 county zoning. We could find no previous cases under special information. Approval of the proposed annexation of 3.79 acres of undeveloped property, classification to I1 zoning, and annexation agreement will allow an additional monthly truck parking lot and business overflow parking lot for the nearby Rendell's Truck Sales and Service Facility. The parking area for 66 tractor trailers will work in conjunction with the adjacent businesses to the west. Individual truck owners and companies in need of additional parking will pay to park their tractor trailers at this location and can also have them serviced at Rendell's. There will be no container storage allowed or major repairs conducted in the new parking area. The new concrete parking lot will require an additional curb cut on Mills Road, a 30-foot wide berm that includes landscaping will be installed along the north property line to act as buffering and screening as per the Joliet zoning ordinance. 30 feet high ComEd street lights along Mills Road every 300 feet and a 27-foot right-of-way dedication to Will County Department of Transportation will be required as will be required by the city's Public Works Department. The proposed use will not require connection to city water and sewer service. A city water main in Mills Road is available for connection for future development. City sanitary sewer service is not available currently. The future development will be required to meet all city ordinances, including those required by Public Works, the commercial design standards, landscaping ordinance, and screening requirements. Detachment fees to East Joliet Fire Protection District have been paid. The property is not subject to Library District detachment fees. It should be known that the Economic Development Division, with the aid of the Planning Division, has conducted a study on the cost benefit of truck terminals and truck parking facilities in the city. Findings from the study point to little tax generation of these types of facilities and large amounts of truck-related use on the city's local roads. This is contrary to typical warehousing and distribution centers in that they provide adequate amounts of local property taxation to the city. The discussion on this topic was brought to the Land Use Committee in October and November of last year. Based on the information that was gathered and the direction of the Land Use Committee, it has been determined that an annual payment in lieu of taxes should be collected on truck terminals and truck parking lots in order to offset costs to maintain our local roads. A payment based on the number of truck parking stalls seems to be the best way to have a fair comparison to collect property tax for a warehouse distribution facility. Analyzing existing warehouses in the city and what they pay for property taxes, a number was arrived at, and that is $63.34 per truck parking stall. Applied to the subject site and the proposed 66-stall truck parking lot, a total of $4,180.44 would be collected annually through the payment in lieu of taxes. Staff is still considering a fluctuating per stall payment rate, which could be tied to the fluctuating tax rate. The collected payment by the city would need to be deposited into a fund to be utilized for city road maintenance fees only. A future ordinance change will follow to mandate this requirement for all future truck parking lots and truck terminals. And that concludes the staff report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Kendall, any questions from the, well,
First of all, ma'am, you wanted to speak about this? This is the one you want to talk about?
come on up.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, I think the petitioner probably should approach first. Yeah.
You're here, petitioner, I'm sorry.
Good afternoon, members of the commission. My name is Dave Silverman. I'm an attorney with the law firm Mahoney Silverman and Cross, and I represent Rendell's. Here with me today is Tom Carroll from Geotech, and also PJ and Mike Polson representing Rendell's, a part of the Rendell's family that owns the business that's been in Joliet for 96 years, I think. So we're here. If you'd rather, we can hold off any questions after public comment, or we can make a short presentation now. I think that Mr. Jackson pretty well covered what we would say is going to be about 66 slots there. It'll be a concrete area, so there won't be any dust or anything like that to bother any of the neighbors. It is in the area a lot of industrial zoning, I-2 and I-1. Also, Mr. Jackson mentioned the R4 to our west. There's also a bit of I-1 right there too. So it seems to be a zoning request that's consistent with the area. Rendell's, you can see on the map where the parking lot is at a little bit to the west there. That's their current business, and it also allows semi-parking and also parking to incorporate vehicles for the Rendell's business. They believe it's a good fit in the area, a good complement to their existing business and the existing lot. And actually, they hope and they think their experience will tell them that it'll reduce truck traffic overall in the area on the interstates and that, because a lot of their customers are people who are going back and forth to the different intermodals in the Laraway Road area and things like that, so they can leave their semi there and drive their pickup truck or their car or whatever back and forth to work. So it overall should have a positive impact on traffic in the area. Although admittedly, there'll be some traffic that's generated on Mills Road going in and out. Mills Road seems to be a pretty well put together road, and it's also a county road, so it's not the city's issue at that point.
It's going to be blacktop or concrete, you said?
Concrete, the parking lot will be concrete.
You know, a citizen had mentioned to me, something, there used to be a gas station over here too, right there. Did you guys come across that? I was told there was tanks in the ground.
Corner? Right on the corner of 52 and Manhattan, which if you see the subject property outlined in blue, Mr. Dillon, it's kind of a triangular shaped parcel to the right. And Rendell's recently acquired that too, but that's not part of the petition today. They just bought it and they're not sure what they will do with it in the future.
Because I was told their tanks were still in the ground over there. So I got no record of them being taken out, so I don't know.
All remediated. There was an old building on the property that's been demolished now, and
Yeah.
it actually looks pretty good over there.
Okay. Any comments or questions from the commissioners at this time? Ma'am, you want to speak?
My name is Donna Norris. I live at 1121 Helen Avenue, exactly 1 block from this proposed truck site. 66 trucks. What are the business hours for this? What are the business hours? What about the residential people who live there? I mean, we'll be hearing truck noise all day and all night, and we still have to get up and go to work. How is that the noise reduction? Then the next thing is, they're talking about putting this this trucking place in. We're already receiving ground vibrations from trucks. Ground vibrations from trucks passing up and down Mills Road. And I mean, if I could show you right where I live. I live on Helen, the second house from that corner. And we get a lot of noise, a lot of ground vibrations. And there's also a lot of extra traffic over there. But the biggest thing is, when do we get a chance to rest? If trucks are coming and going, night and day, when do we get a chance to rest? Trucks are loud. Their baffles and stuff, that noise they make, when do we get a chance to rest? And then the other thing, since Certified Grocery Store closed in that area, we have become basically a food desert. We have maybe 2 mom and pop stores, but they do not sell fresh produce or fresh meat. What about something for the residents that live there? I don't see how putting this trucking thing in is benefiting the people that already live in that area. We're gonna get excess noise and the ground vibrations. I keep saying it over and over. And then I ask about the business hours. He's saying whenever they need to park a truck or move a truck. And it's 66 spots. And they've already bought up more land. Who knows what else they're gonna put in? What about the residents that already live there?
Okay. Is there anybody else?
Good afternoon. My name is Carla Alessio Policandriotis. I'm here to support the request for the City of Joliet for the Rendell's property expansion. I can suggest to you that the Polson family, as it's been already suggested to you, has been is a multi-generational family that's been invested in Joliet for many, many years. They're not a company that's coming out of the community to come in here and change the nature. They live here, they've invested here, their family has always worked in this community. This is a property that is adjacent to one of their existing, in essence, one of their existing sites. This is an expansion of an existing business. And to suggest that the city of Joliet shouldn't support that would be, I think, contrary to what we should be doing for local business. In addition, I'll direct you to part of what's shown on that map is Alessio Drive. And on Alessio Drive, there currently, I believe, is 11 different, what I refer to as pole buildings. And those pole buildings contain individual businesses that are mom and pop businesses that work in order to support their families, and they're a part of that community. They respect the fact that Rendell's is, in fact, expanding and making it better there. If you have, over the years, driven down Mills Road in that dilapidated corner and overgrown brush, looking to see what Rendell's has proposed for that area is an improvement, not just for visual improvement, but also improvement for the other businesses there and how it may attract other residual benefits. So on behalf of the Alessio Trust and each of those businesses, I'm asking you to approve their plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Any comments, questions from the commissioners? We have a motion for
I make a motion to approve.
A-1-20. Do we have a second?
Second.
Call roll.
Ms. Fide.
Aye.
Mr. Kella.
Aye.
Mr. Mystic.
Aye.
Mr. Rosanellis.
Aye.
Mr. Caparelli.
Aye.
Mr. Cox.
Aye.
Mr. Crompton.
Aye.
Mr. Dillon.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is A-2-20, and that is the annexation of 3805 Rollingwood Court in classification to R1 single-family residential zoning and approval of an annexation agreement. The applicants in this matter are Patrick and Ann Keelian. They are the owners. They are requesting annexation, classification to R1 single-family zoning, along with the approval of an annexation agreement. The purpose is to establish residency within Joliet. The petitioner is a City of Joliet Fire Department employee. Existing zoning is residential zoning in unincorporated Will County. Again, location 3805 Rollingwood Drive, and that is west of Timberline Drive. 1 acre is the size of the parcel. Single-family residential is the existing land use. To the north is residential, unincorporated Will County with County R3 zoning. To the south is residential with City of Joliet R1 zoning. To the east is residential with unincorporated Will County, County R3 zoning. And to the west is residential with City of Joliet R1 zoning. We could find no previous cases. Under special information, the petitioner, a City of Joliet Fire Department employee, is requesting approval of an annexation for an existing single-family dwelling because he has previously purchased the property and needs to establish residency to work for the fire department, to continue to work for the fire department. The R1 zoning request is in character with the surrounding single-family area and lot sizes. Sewer and water services are not readily available, and therefore the property would not need to connect to these services at this time. The subject property would be required to connect if those services became available in the future, and that concludes the staff report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Kendall. Do we have the petitioner on him?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Gene Keno. I'm also with the law firm of Mahoney, Silverman & Cross, and I represent petitioners. I have with me today Andy Killian, who is a homeowner, and Mr. Jackson's summary is right on point. The essence of doing this is because Patrick Killian is a newly minted Joliet fireman, and he needs to conform with the residency requirement. So this is one of the situations where the Killians love their home and he loves his job, and this would allow him to keep both. So we're here for any questions you may have. It's pretty.
Any questions from the commissioners? Comments? Anything from the public?
I get a motion?
Whoops, somebody's getting up.
I'm sorry.
Hi.
I'm Kathy McAllister. I live right next door to them, 313 Rollingwood Lane. There's not a single house on Rollingwood that is annexed into the city, not one. We had this fight about 20 years ago when the city wanted to annex the subdivision. Everybody voted it down. I've talked to all of the neighbors. I've talked to Pete and Sue O'Connell, Tom and Mary Fran Dempsey, Bill and Darcy Berg, Dr. Mark and Ann Streitz, and myself and my husband. None of us want this. We don't want to see him lose his job either. We are very concerned about city services in the event the house is ever sold, or there's a creek behind them that can't be crossed to Westridge to supply water. The neighbors are of the opinion that they don't want this, but they don't want him to see him lose his job either. He did know that the area was unincorporated when he purchased the house in October. He tried to get, in the first offer, wanted the seller to petition, and she refused, and he decided to do it on his own after the sale. So, I say no.
Okay. Can I get a motion for anybody else?
So moved.
A-2-20?
Second.
Do I have a second? Roll call?
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Mr. Mystic?
Aye.
Mr. Rosanellis?
Aye.
Mr. Caparelli?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Crompton?
Aye.
Ms. Fide?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye. Thank you. Mr. Commissioner, we have no items under new business, no public hearing. There are no items under study session. There are no items under old or new business, not for final action or recommendation. This next section is for public comment. Anyone wanting to speak regarding non-agenda items, and the 4-minute rule is in effect.
So basically, what was the point of even inviting residents to come when you were gonna approve this anyway? I mean, if you don't take into account that we live there, I mean, how would you like a trucking place, you know, less than a block from your home that's gonna operate 24 hours a day, 365 days of a year?
Thank you. Is there a motion for adjournment?
Is there a motion for
So
adjournment?
moved.
Second. Roll call? In favor? Aye.
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 Thank you.